Strategic decisions and logistical challenges were fundamental factors that shaped the course of military campaigns, influencing the movements of armies, determining immediate objectives, and ultimately deciding the outcome of major battles like Pharsalus. The key strategic choices made by both commanders dictated the direction and final location of the conflict. After Caesar suffered a crushing defeat at the Battle of Dyrrhachium, he faced a critical strategic choice about what to do next. Caesar decided not to take the long and difficult land route to Italy, which lacked forage and would have abandoned his eastern legions. He also couldn't travel by sea because he had no fleet, and Pompey controlled the waters. His only viable option was to march deeper into Greece to link up with scattered forces, rebuild his forces, and replenish supplies. Despite his advisors urging him to march to Italy to protect Rome, Pompey chose a different path. Convinced that victory was imminent after his recent success and that his army's morale was high, he decided to set out in pursuit of Caesar, aiming to end the war once and for all. To move faster than Pompey's army, which was delayed by its baggage, Caesar implemented the strategy of sending his baggage train ahead, allowing his men to march light and cover much more ground. The movements after Dyrrhachium involved complex coordination and risky situations. Domitius, ordered to join Caesar, set out via the shortest route, the Egnatian Way, but was heading directly toward Pompey's entire army. A confrontation was only avoided by sheer luck and the warnings of scouts, which allowed Domitius to reverse the situation with his army and successfully join Caesar. Pompey's messengers spread the news of Caesar's defeat, prompting many cities to support him and refuse food and forage to Caesar's troops. Caesar responded by attacking cities like Pompey, which had switched sides, opting to invade and sack it, a move that likely influenced Metropolis to open its gates without a fight. Tactical decisions at Pharsalus were crucial to the outcome of the battle. Pompey initially opted to wait, ignoring pressure from the senatorial faction in his camp. He positioned his legions on a high hill adjacent to his camp, giving him a clear advantage, hoping that Caesar's supplies, which were dangerously low, would force decisive action or a retreat. When Caesar began breaking camp to resupply, Pompey finally decided to fight. Pompey's battle plan relied heavily on his enormous cavalry advantage, 7,000 men to Caesar's 1,000. His infantry were instructed to hold the defensive line while the massed cavalry crashed into Caesar's right flank, aiming to break formation, attack the unprotected rear, and unite for the finish. Recognizing the danger posed by Pompey's massed cavalry, Caesar implemented a crucial counter-strategy. He assembled a reserve of 3,000 cohorts, detached them, and positioned them behind the main line on the right. These reserve legionaries were ordered not to throw their pila, javelins, but to use them as spears in close combat, forming a dense wall of spearheads. As Pompey's cavalry overwhelmed Caesar's small force and prepared to attack the flank, the 3,000 legionaries charged and repulsed the surprised Pompeian horsemen who were unprepared for a frontal infantry attack. This strategic maneuver saved Caesar's right flank and forced Pompey's cavalry into a rout. After the victory at Pharsalus, Caesar adopted a strategy of immediate pursuit and selective clemency. Caesar was determined not to give Pompey any chance to regroup and restart the war, so he set out in immediate pursuit. Pompey's escape attempt ended when he sailed to Egypt, where King Ptolemy made the strategic decision to assassinate him to remove an undesirable problem. Caesar pardoned and released nearly all the aristocrats who surrendered, including Marcus Junius Brutus. The rank and file were also pardoned. Many chose to join Caesar's army, while the rest were sent home. The logistical needs immediately following the defeat at Dyrrhachium forced Caesar to act. Caesar's men needed rest to recover their shattered morale, but they were also low on food and burdened with many sick and wounded. The logistically inadequate terrain, rugged, arid, and scarce forage, made a retreat to Italy impossible. Caesar's subsequent march involved crucial logistical steps, resupplying at Apollonia and leaving the sick and wounded there before moving on at a rapid pace. The low state of Caesar's supplies near Pharsalus was a major factor influencing pre-battle maneuvers. Caesar was breaking camp to lead his troops in search of resupply when Pompey finally decided to engage in combat. Failures in communication and access to food sources severely impacted the march's effectiveness. Pompey's messengers, spreading the news of Caesar's defeat, convinced cities to withhold much-needed food and forage from Caesar's troops, complicating Caesar's resupply efforts. Poor communication meant that messengers between Caesar and Domitius rarely communicated, forcing Domitius to break camp and march without knowing exactly which route Caesar was taking or where they should meet. Control of the sea and protection of the fleets were crucial logistical concerns. Caesar was severely limited in his movements because he had no fleet, and Pompey's ships controlled the waters. Even after Pharsalus, the logistical problem of maintaining naval superiority persisted. The Pompeian commander Laius blockaded Caesar's fleet at Brundisium, causing shortages and keeping the fleet under control. Admiral cases demonstrated the vulnerability of poorly protected logistical centers by attacking Caesar's fleet anchored in the ports of Messana and Vibo. At Messana, the Caesarians were caught completely off guard, without adequate patrols, allowing cases to use fire ships to completely destroy the fleet.